let's get started. Time to power up. Perfect. Hi, welcome back to Not Just Another Jessica. I'm Jessica. Today we're going to be making a recipe here at home. I don't know about the rest of you, but as we've been locked inside during this time, I've been doing a lot of cooking. We've tried new recipes like bagels, French bread. We're working on sourdough. The starter is here, and I feed it each day. And I think tomorrow I'm going to make it into bread, and we'll see how that goes. We've had pretty good success with the bagels and the soft pretzels, and the kids have really enjoyed those, so those have been good snacks. But today we're going to try something different. Today we're going to make donuts. So I have this donut pan I haven't used. It has a lot of holes in it. It makes 20 donuts at a time, and we're a family of 6. Plus my mom, dad, and grandma live next door, so there's 9 of us. We should go through 20 donuts pretty easily. Today I'm going to be using a recipe I found online for baked cinnamon sugar donuts, and this is from Sally's Baking Addiction. I haven't tried this recipe before, so we're going to see how it is. When I do my baking, I keep all the recipes that I print up online in a binder, and one of the nice things you can do is if you have a clear binder, you can slide your recipe in the front, the one that you're working on. That way you can cook and get stuff on the binder if that happens, and you can just dust it off, and then you'll still be able to see what's going on with your recipe. So I'm going to gather my ingredients and we'll mix them together and get started. Alright, I'm going to start making the donuts. The donuts use a lot of pantry staples, and we keep a lot of those in the house. I keep a bucket of flour at least, sometimes 2, and I store, I'll move this over here. I store my flour in these food grade buckets. I have them in my pantry labeled what they are. This one has the wrong label. It says white sugar. But this one's flour. I have 2 or 3 of these, and I also usually keep sugar in there. I have one of beans, of pasta, a few of different kinds of rice. I feel like it makes cooking easier, more simple, if you have a lot of those things on hand, especially the things that you're going to use on a regular basis. So I keep things that I know that my family will use in the pantry so that I'm not having to run out to the store all the time, and that's a time and a money saver. And you can often find the things for a better price per pound if you buy them in bulk. So I tend to go to a Costco business store where you can get the business size products from Costco and buy a large amount at one time. Just something that we do, cuts back on trips. We're a homeschool family, so as a stay-at-home mom with homeschoolers, you would think you have a lot of time to run to the store, but that's not necessarily true, because if you leave and do errands, a lot of times your kids don't have time to get their schoolwork done. So combining errands and outings and having less of them is really important so that we can protect our time during the school day. Moving forward with the donuts here. It tells us that we are going to make these donuts, put all the dry ingredients together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And here go the ingredients. We have 1 cup all-purpose flour, and then we're going to need a teaspoon of baking powder, which again I get at the Costco business, and you can get this really large container of baking powder, and I believe it's under $4. I also buy the cornstarch from this brand in the same container because I use it in soups, gravies, and sauces. And again, I think it's $3 or $4, which is really not very expensive when compared to buying the smaller container at the store. And I have baking soda, and I buy this in the large bag at Costco because sometimes we use this for like cleaning products or other around the house projects. So it's nice to have a lot of that on hand. And then a half teaspoon of the salt. Give it a little bit of flavor there. I used to never put salt in my recipes because I thought salt isn't good for us. We probably shouldn't add it in. But I've learned over the years that it seems to be kind of part of the leavening agent and the chemistry that happens during baking, and that when you don't put it in, your products just don't turn out as well. Then we need a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Just kind of guess on that, huh? There is a bakery by where we live that made old-fashioned cake donuts when I was younger, and they just had a touch of that nutmeg in the batter, and it was really, really good. I really look forward to those. I've never tried making fried donuts here at home. I've only ever done the baked ones, so I think doing the fried ones would be interesting because you'd probably get a different texture, but I'm worried about it being dangerous using the frying oil just because it's not something I'm experienced with. Alright, so now we're going to, these are combined, I'm going to put in my wet ingredients. That's 1 large egg, now I gotta wash the hands. Whenever I touch raw eggs in the kitchen, I wash my hands immediately afterwards. I don't want to be putting anything that might have germs in it into my food. And also, then when I'm done cooking in this area, I'll sanitize the whole counter with ethanol. It might be overkill, I don't know, but I really like making sure that there's no items in the food that'll make people ill. Now I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of yogurt. So this is a plain yogurt I'm putting in here. And then 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And if you store sugar or large amounts of food in your pantry, they're called Cambro containers, are great. They use them in restaurants, but you can get them at Restaurant Supply or at Costco Business or anywhere like that that carries stuff for restaurants. And they keep food really fresh, and I like because you can see how much of whatever is in there is left, and it's no guessing what's in the container, and they fit well on the pantry shelves. So I like to use those. And then all I have left to add is a little bit of vanilla. It says 1 1/2 teaspoons vanilla and 2 tablespoons melted butter. Then I'm going to put this on the KitchenAid and mix it up, and we'll come back and see how that batter looks. Alright, our batter has been mixed, and I followed the instructions and mixed it till just combined, not overmix it. It didn't make a whole lot of batter, and it's pretty thick. I'm going to follow the instructions listed here in the recipe, and that is to pipe the batter into the donut cavities. And to do this, I'm going to take a Ziploc bag and put it into a jar, like so, and then fold the top down. And then I'll spoon the batter into here, and then if I cut off the end, I can pipe it into the donut cavities. So I'm not sure how many donuts this will make. It says to fill the cavity 2/3 of the way full, so we'll go ahead and do that. When we're done making this recipe, I'm going to figure out what the expense is per donut. I think that would be interesting in comparison to buying donuts at the store. I really like donuts, and donuts have become really trendy lately, which is, you know, it's fun. They offer all different sorts of flavors. We live here in the Northwest, so that we've got, you know, the iconic donuts like Voodoo Donut where you can go, and they just have so many creative types of donuts. Out by us, our grocery store actually sells donuts from one of the nice bakeries in town, but they're $11 a dozen, which is pretty high for a dozen donuts from the grocery store to feed the family. So making them at home is probably considerably cheaper. So now that we have that all in here, we're going to go ahead and put this into the donut pan. I'll move that over in this direction, and let's read in this recipe if we are supposed to grease this. So we're supposed to preheat, and it says spray it with a nonstick. Okay, so we've already preheated. Now we're going to spray this with the nonstick, which is right here. I'm going to start just spraying part of them. So I've sprayed enough to do 8. And now I have my bag ready. Pull this out of here. So that's how much batter one recipe of donuts makes. Just kind of part of a Ziploc bag worth. And I'm going to snip off the end here. Alright. And now I'm going to start piping it into the donut cavities. So here we go. 1. This wasn't too difficult to do. You could probably get up and do this for your family in the morning. My family is always hungry right away when they wake up, so if I want to feed them something other than cereal or something they grab out of the pantry, I have to be up before them and ready to go with it, or else they will have already eaten by the time I make anything. Maybe if you pre-made the dough and had it in the bags in the refrigerator, you could just pull it out in the morning and fill the cavities and then start baking. I'm going to go back through and try to see if I need a little bit more in each of these. And you know, given this big pan, you could also have maybe a few different flavors of donuts ready to go. And then people could choose what they wanted in the morning if you had the dough pre-made in the baggies the night before. And get this evened out here. So I would say that this recipe, given the donut pan that I have, makes about 8 of the cinnamon donuts. And there's that. So I'm going to put these in to bake now. The instructions say that they bake for 9 to 10 minutes until edges are lightly brown. And it says allow them to cool for 2 minutes and then transfer them to a wire rack set on a large piece of parchment paper. Okay, our donuts are in the oven. They're really puffing up. Look at that. Just a little bit longer. I let the donuts cool in the pan for 3 or 4 minutes, and then I flipped them out onto this cooling rack. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush the donuts with butter and then sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on them. As you can see, there are no holes in the middle of these donuts. I think that I might have overfilled the container because you can see they're really chubby little donuts. And I'm not sure which side I should put the topping on, so what I'm going to do is half one way, half the other. So I have a half cup of melted butter and I'm going to brush it onto them. And then once I've done that, I'm going to sprinkle with cinnamon and sugar, like so. These smell really good. All right, I made a price breakdown of making these donuts, and I totaled up the expense of all the ingredients for doing the homemade donuts. It comes out to $3.05 to make 8 donuts, which is about 38 cents each. Compared to buying the donuts at my local grocery store where they're $11.99 a dozen, that makes each of those donuts roughly 99 cents each. So, to make this entire batch of donuts cost me only $3.05. If I were to make 36, so enough to feed a group, it would cost me $13.68. And that's where we start to see more of a savings, because if we were to purchase 36 donuts at the store, it would cost $35.97. So, as usual, making things homemade does save money. All right, the donuts are done, and I have my taste testers here. Everybody grab a donut. Okay. And give it a try. Dakota, get on in there.
Tasty.
Tasty?
Mm-hmm.
Soft.
Yeah,
Very
soft.
good.
Yeah. It's not very dense, which is nice.
What flavor would you guess it was?
Some sort of cinnamon, pumpkin type of thing.
Like pumpkin spice, sort of.
Okay. This is a cinnamon sugar donut, but I think the nutmeg in it is giving you the pumpkin spice
It's not-
taste.
Strong, but it's good.
So, are these something we would want made again?
Yes.
All right. So, review from the family. The baked cinnamon sugar donuts from Sally's Baking Addiction were tasty. They were light and not heavy. They kind of had a pumpkin spice flavor, and they would like them again. So, next time I'll come back and try a different flavor of donut from her site. She has a lemon poppy seed I'd like to try. I hope you all have a good day. And remember, if you like videos on topics like cooking, gardening, money saving, and do-it-yourself projects, like and subscribe below.